All right. Sorry, I completely lost track of time or my sense or both. Or I guess a little bit of everything. Anyway, sorry, I've been working on school projects all day today, and it was actually an interesting day. And first, before I say anything else, for all the people in Florida and the coastal areas and stuff like that, especially thoughts and no, none of that thoughts and prayers. I mean, we're just praying for you. It's a rough it's a rough go so far, but at least from what I read, DeSantis has left his uh, affiliation behind and is working well with President Biden. So I mean that's a good change for them to work together, and I find that important. I had a bunch of stuff laid out, which I'm sure I've already lost somewhere along the way because I'm skilled at that. Anyway, I was doing an interesting science class today on culture, and what I came up with was, something from my culture that reminded me of an event or a movement or something like that. And I was really thinking about it. And in 1989, um, I started at Lexington Catholic in Lexington, Kentucky, and met a couple of friends, James Delaire and Chevis Carter, and they introduced me to this is 1990 Public Enemy, "The Fear of a Black Planet" album, and that kind of started resonating with me, and I was like, all right, I'm going to research this, and because I still listen to it, I have a Public Enemy shirt from the album, and yeah, the importance of it is so far overlooked. The more I got into it, in Rolling Stone, it's rated in the top 500 albums of all time, and it's also been enlisted in the Library of Congress in the U.S. And the movement and the change that came about from that album at the time, because I was only used to like I wasn't one of the ones who's listening to MC Hammer and stuff like that. Like, there was NWA, there was Too Short, Easy, a lot of, a lot more of the gangster rap. And, Run DMC, of course. Anybody that didn't listen to Run DMC is brain damaged. But long story short is that was what was considered culture wise the golden age of hip hop. So, when Public Enemy came along, it was kind of like this was more like a spoken word poetry album more than anything, because it was actually important topics like, in the same way, Fight the Power, it starts out in 1989, um, in the lyrics, 1989, a number, another summer. And it was a brilliant song. Once you go through it, I'm not going to go through all that, obviously. But the kicker is they remade it in 2020 with the rapper Nas and Questlove and lady rapper, her name slips my mind. But the important part here is that it still is relevant now, and that would have been 31 years ago when they remade it, as it was then. And after that, Public Enemy, they've also done. Chuck D has been on CNN as a correspondent. He's a highly intelligent guy that um, it almost makes you wonder if he's very, can't say that he can read the future, but all of the song that ties into today is it's something to think about, and that's the best way to put it. And uh, again, the guy's more of a professor. He's more of a scholar. I can remember they actually had a guy in the group named Professor Griff, I think it was, or one of them. I don't know. It doesn't matter anyway. Chuck D booted him for being racist. So it's very interesting. And beyond that, that's what important. The last part I'll get to on that is that same year that Fear of a Black Planet came out, there's a governor in Arizona, and I remember this very, very well, who put on the voting ballot to get rid of Dr. Martin Luther King Day in Arizona. So, Public Enemy's next album was Apocalypse 91, which was out right about a year after. It may have even been sooner, but by the time I got to Arizona, is another powerful entity in history. And the reason I bring these up is these are culturally significant, and they're important to what was going on then and what was going on now. And it's an arc almost into the future when you're going from 1989 to 2020, 2021, 2022. Not much has changed since then. Um, I know in the 2020 version they reference Breonna Taylor and a few other current events, and but the cultural significance of Public Enemy is it's passed over a lot, and believe you me, when you think about the scholars and this particular album, Fight the Power, particularly as well. Being in the Library of Congress, that's a pretty big deal. They stand the annals of time. I mean, a lot of these bands now that come and go, that Takashi, whatever his name is, and stuff like that, you'll these are just blips on the radar. There's so many bands along the way that come and go, and now in recent work that Chuck D has done with Prophets of Rage, you have a Rage Against the Machine, a Cypress Hill, and a Public Enemy, all three very political and protest groups. So it's interesting stuff. It's not safe to play on here because there is a lot of justified anger involved. But it was a good lesson for me to go back and think of all that and remember all that for what it was and what was going on then at that time. As a young impressionable guy, I think I was right around 13 and 14 when I really got into it, and kind of didn't know what I had in my hands then, but now I do. And the significance and the importance, I would put Fear of a Black Planet up there with Woodstock. And that's saying a lot. It really is. I think it was at the Reading Festival in 1991 that Public Enemy was actually the first rap group to ever play at a show like that, which was another pretty big show. I mean, uh, like a Lollapalooza, Woodstock, something like that. Not as bad, and we'll just ignore the rest of the Woodstocks that came after the original 1969 of 3 days of peace, love, and music. And so, in other words, I've been all over the place with music this week. Like I got myself a Grateful Deaded back again. That's a good group to listen to, especially just to kind of chill out. Like I've said on here many times, I don't smoke pot or but I don't have anything against it too, because I know that the band is in Cypress Hill are very significant with marijuana use. I just don't have anything against it. Why it's not medically clear, I don't know. As much as I know and am still learning in psychology, I can see the benefits are far outweigh the any potential issues. So moving forward from there into this week, I keep hearing and seeing end of days um, everywhere, and my caution of that is it's caught on to. I even read a legitimate news story earlier, and it's getting disturbing to me when the extreme far right now is accusing the hurricanes of being engineered by the far left. And that's so nonsensical, it's ridiculous. I mean, it's stuff like that that really needs to just stop. And it's easier said than done, because I think we've gotten to a point where people want to fight more than they do. You know, uh, love one another, and that's the truth. I read an interesting post from a pastor who I consider a friend the other day that was really good, about how so many experts, and he himself has a master's in divinity, I believe. And I think if I remember right, he's got a psychology degree as well. I'm not for sure on that, but he brought up some good, valid points about there's so many experts out there, and I often think the same thing when you go into what I was talking about last week, when you really delve into psychology, and you're on there, and for me, that's going to be my professional title is a psychologist. And you know, now since I'm retired from my other life, unless Corey Thomas needs me to come work for him sometime for like last weekend of the month, and everybody in the car business knows what that means, I do believe. Um, so the way I look at it is there's so many unlicensed therapists on the Facebooks and the did I start this too early? Why is it just now telling me to get ready? Okay, on the Facebooks and advice on TikToks and stuff like that. And I've even gotten to I'm really getting a lot harder on the recovery community, because you're seeing a lot of these videos and a lot of this stuff of people who have no clue what they're talking about. Just because you've been through it, I've been through it. It doesn't mean that I know the ins and outs of it. I don't know the clinical diagnoses. I don't know what somebody's been through in their past. I don't know their root cause. I don't know the traumas. And it's really, really irresponsible. And I brought this up to somebody I knew the other night. Another friend was showing, when you've been through this and you see it, and God's definitely, since my salvation, has given me a gift of being able to see things with open eyes. And I keep calling it sober minded, because that's what it feels like to me. And when I remember parts of the Bible that I really got involved in and think about still. But somebody, I can see signs of somebody who's, I hate that word, out there. It's out there. Where are they out there to? And what did they go to Chick-fil-A instead of McDonald's? Um, so when people are showing absolute signs of using, it's just stuff I pick up on. It's wording. It's I hate to say it. Some people write more in context when they're high on something than they do when they're not. Like me, I was more in context when I was drunk than I am since I had my last drink. I'm on the south side slope, upwards to 2 years. But I really, I don't like saying that too much, because I don't like tracking time. I think it's counterproductive. That's just my opinion. It really works for some people. For me, I don't like it, um, and that's how it is. So anyway, I finally talked to this person that was obviously acting up on the social media, and they had actually blocked me, and for no reason. So I talked to them, and they're like, I didn't block you, this and that. And I said, well, that's okay, that's good, that's dandy and all. And I said, what's going on with you? And after he or she explained to me what was going on, and they said, well, so and so said, they hate you and not trust you, and And this was somebody who genuinely dislikes me. I don't know why. Honestly, I can tell you why a lot of people don't like me, and that's flat out because I'm allowed to cuss word an hour here. They flat out just think I'm an asshole because I'm very pointed, and that's fine and dandy. But um, they're also giving this person who I've known over 30 some years advice. And I'm talking about, showing them how to live is in the way of a spiritual guide type bunch of nonsense because they've read the Bible for 6 months, and it's what I'm getting to without jumping down any more rabbit holes is it's irresponsible to give advice that you have no background on. You don't understand it. You don't know. You just know what somebody's saying for the current moment. That helps not a bit. If like let's use me for an example. I'm the best example. Um, like if I called my sister right now and I could pull it off because I can be very deadpan and be like, I'm not drinking. And she'd immediately, it would trigger her to go back to the past, what she's used to. Because that would be one of the certain things I would do is I'm not drinking. I swear to God, I'm not drinking. And then repeat everything over and over again, which I've always been bad about. But imagine when I was drinking, it was about 10 times worse. So my biggest thing here from telling that little story is I flat out talked to one of the people who were involved in giving advice. And I just told them flat out because I will go to the source. I don't gossip like some people like to say. I swear the people who sit around and say that's gossip, and that's gossip, and that's gossip. A lot of the times there is a reason they say that, unjustified when they say it because they've got something to worry about, and it's really the truth. That's what my dad taught me a long time ago, and I've heard it since. But if you offend somebody, they probably need to be offended if you're telling the truth, and with a sober-minded thought. So it's just my roundabout way of saying my cautionary tale is don't take social media therapy, don't give social media advice. Um, unless, I mean, if you're somebody's friend for, I mean, like me and a lot of my friends have been friends over 30 years. If I know something's going on with them, I'll hit them behind the scenes, whether it be a text, a call, a message on social media or something like that. But it's also never a good idea to call somebody out on a forum like that. Um, so I don't know. I'm just saying it's to me there's so much spiritual warfare going on right now. Period. That when I used to pray, I used to say, God protect me from Satan's minions. And they are, in my opinion, all around. This is the most discord in my 46 years that I've seen on this planet we call Earth, and it's to a point of it's utterly ridiculous. Um, disclaimer as always, I am a Democrat. I've always been a Democrat. That doesn't mean that I don't see both sides of a coin. But when we got people like what's her name, Lauren Brobart, and Marjorie Taylor Greene, and things like that, I mean, seriously, folks, it's absolute nonsense what those people are speaking. And then to me, as somebody who researches, I'll go and I'll look and I'll say, well, what's up with Lauren Brobart anyway? I don't know anything about this person. She came out of the blue. She's a good looking lady to some. She's cute. She looks good for television, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And but then you delve a little bit further back, and and really, I'm not against anybody who dropped out or didn't finish high school. We all have different reasons. And trust me, life can give you as much of an education as a lot of things you learn in school. Um, and I'll backtrack on that a little bit and say it cannot teach you everything because there are finite things you would never think to even look at, like where I went back in the last year and looked into the Tulsa Race Massacre of 1921. I never knew anything about that. I never would have thought to go searching for hidden history. But I learned a great deal from that. And a lot of times, people who are educated and or getting their education are looked down upon as well. I know this big thing popped up on Facebook. Well, we're not paying for your education. Blah 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 blah. Yeah, well, that's great. If you don't need the doctors, the lawyers, the therapists, the dentist, the academics, and more. I mean, if you don't need them, don't, don't. Um, I personally think school loans are out of hand, and they should be. There should be some forgiveness on how it got out of hand. Now, on both sides of the coin on that one, I do think that trade school reimbursement is kind of important as well. Now, I also know that with that um, being said, that a lot of companies I know will put you through um, trade schools if you sign on with the company. Like right now, you can go be a realtor in Lexington, Kentucky, which I actually strongly recommend this. Um, with Greater Keller Williams of the Bluegrass, and they'll pay for you to go to school. You got to sign with them, which is, I mean, it's a lot to go through real estate school. I mean, I've got a degree in it, but you can do it technically in 30 days. Um, yeah, I'm not even gonna speak on how I feel about that, but it's a lot of memorization, a lot of skills, and it's also a big bunch of money that Keller Williams is putting out to give you the opportunity. So, I mean, that is what it is, and it's no different than somebody signing with the NFL team or whatever. I mean, it's everything's hand in hand at some point, isn't it? So, moving on from there, but some of the stuff that comes from Loner and Brobart and Brobart and Marjorie Taylor Greene is, I mean, seriously, y'all. She talks about the Jewish people created space lasers. Okay, that's good. And then you got Robart, who is all hippy skippy, carry a gun on your side, and the stuff people don't look up. Like for example, she claimed that the reason she made her restaurant a place where everybody could feel free to carry guns and do whatever gun friendly environment is because some dude got beat to death in front of her bar. Well, that story was not true. What happened is two guys got in a fight a block away. The other guy took off running. During that time, he started overdosing on meth fentanyl poisoning, and that's how he died. It wasn't from fighting in front of her bar. But I mean, that's just a convenient way to do things. It's like the old dude in Ohio right now is claiming he was out in deployment in where's it, Afghanistan, and not true. I mean, it's ridiculous. And I'll even be the first to say, with Biden calling out the dead senator this week, I mean, was it funny or is there something more cognitive to it? I don't know. I know that he's got enough people around him that are doing a good job to the stuff that people aren't paying attention to. Is like we're kind of getting out of the trap of the major deficit that we were in. And when it comes to balancing the budget, I will tell you, I believe uh, in my lifetime, we were in a big mess after Reagan and Bush. And that's not even me talking about Reagan and Bush, but Clinton is one of the first people to balance a budget, I think, since JFK. And let's keep in mind when people talk politics all the time, and oh shucks, I heard somebody tell me how Trump was the smartest president ever. Bill Clinton's a member of Mensa. Google that. Um, Bill Clinton has that same issue that I've got, where if you act like you're the dumbest person in the room, people will inherently treat you like you're the dumbest person in the room. Trust me on that. So other than that, everything's good. I was going through my medical records again last night, which I do once in a while. We got this My Chart thing in Kentucky. They've got it in North Carolina too, through Baptist, I believe. And I know that's where we're primarily at. It's North Carolina and Kentucky here, but well, I take that back. We go all over the world. India. I forgot. Lady Falana showed me all these places one time. I was like, wow, that's pretty amazing. Um, and so, um, sorry, I went from My Chart to India. Um, Point is that I go back and I look through those records, and I went back specifically this time from 2019, June 2019 to June of 2022. And I mean, the stuff I pulled up, I should have put it on a picture slide here, but it's on my Facebook, which is scrolling around the bottom at all times. Facebook.com/Goodlow.Napier. And since I said that, that just reminded me. I'm going to run the commercial for my friend Corey, um, who is Minister Corey Thomas, Pastor Corey Thomas, former NFL player Corey Thomas, Duke Hall of Fame Corey Thomas. Oh, and good guy Corey Thomas. There you go.
Author evangelist Corey Thomas, a dedicated servant leader whose weapons are spiritual in nature and volatile in impact. Hot off the press, author evangelist Corey Thomas's new book, Sound Advice, Music and the Battle for Your Mind, Body, and Soul. Matthew 5:13, ye are the salt of the earth, but if the salt has lost his flavor, wherewith shall it be salted? It's author evangelist Corey Thomas's new book, Sound Advice, Music and the Battle for Your Mind, Body, and Soul. Purchase your copy to help maintain that flavor in your spiritual walk. This book is epic. It's sold on every major online bookstore, or go to CoreyThomasMinistries.com. I got my copy. Be sure to get yours. It's author evangelist Corey Thomas's new book, Sound Advice, Music and the Battle for Your Mind, Body, and Soul. Get your copy today.
Can't help it. I love Corey. And by the way, if you need a Nissan out in High Point, North Carolina, you can always visit Van York Auto Group, which is Corey Thomas is the general manager out there at Nissan. And but it doesn't matter anyway. That book, to me, I've read it countless amount of times now, and it's not just because old dude's my friend. It's because it's a brilliant thing. And I'm a tough critic, man. If I don't like something, I flat out tell people I don't like it. If I don't like somebody, I flat out tell them I don't like them. That's just my personality. I apologize in advance for it, but no need to. So getting back to where we were and going back through those records, I mean, it shows liver damage in 2019. I mean, basically pancreatitis. I've got a bleeding ulcer on there, a GI bleed, major cirrhosis. And it's just, go to my Facebook and look at it. But the point is I see when I go back and look at that stuff, and this all started this week I was getting some messages from people saying that I can't be sober because I wear I thought it was right here. Oh, because I'll wear stuff like a Pabst Blue Ribbon hat or something like that. And I do that very purposefully, and I don't do it for others, even though I see why some people, might get a little bit offended, which doesn't really bother me. But I do that because, I like the fact of facing what hurt me the most. It has taken me so far away from where I was that I don't say I don't recognize a person. I've got a thing um, mentally, where I can take myself back to a certain situation and be right there. And that's a blessing and a curse all in one. But that just got me thinking about, the blessing, the salvation, what God did for me, through me, and is still doing through me. You know, Going all along through this, especially since January of this year, I wanted to believe that everything was good and everybody was good, everybody was inherently good, and so on and so on. And not so much. That I'd be catching literal hell um, from others that either say your story's nonsense, your story's BS. There's no way that happened. Man, it happened, and I don't even have to answer to that anymore because it's not my miracle. It's not my miracle, and this is an important lesson for people to actually learn. This is God's miracle. It's Jesus who lifted me up that day on the floor in Richmond, Kentucky, and said, "You're not done yet." I mean, that's Jesus there working, man. And so it's not. Finally, got it in my head, like clearly, that it's not me. I was not fighting for me. I'm not lucky. Again, I say this every week. It wasn't the doctors. It wasn't the medicine. It wasn't anything else. I mean, I'm healthier now than I was 10 years ago. And other than having some damaged knees from years of years, and that's the truth. So it's good to question me all you want, and it's been brought up to me that everybody denied Jesus' miracles back when he was still walking the earth, which I'm pretty sure he still is, just not as open. But so your denial is not pointed at me, and I hope people get that, because dislike me if you want, but don't pull the holier than thou, or you can beat a Bible better than I can, because I don't beat a Bible. I just tell my story, and it's God's story, and that's it. I mean, it's that simple. So that takes me into a for those of you that have not seen it yet, let me see which one it is. All right. This would have been me in the hospital in a video that I don't remember being taken, but this is the day that I had to be resuscitated. So here. Investigate Linda's case. I said, "What is going on here? She did something to poison herself." That would have been that was a dead man right there. I mean, I don't mean to laugh like I'm offending myself. It's just, I mean, you can see there's nothing there. Nothing in those eyes. There's no hope or anything else. It's just, that's not a way to live. And you know, again, I can say it all day long. I, by all means, there's no questions about this, whatever, nowhere, no how. I posted every bit of this up on Facebook. I posted up my medical records, pictures, there's videos. I weighed 115 pounds when I came home in early September, I guess, of last year. And I was looking at a picture of me the other day from, where Facebook pops those memories up. And it was a picture of me when I first got outside after Jesus had picked me up, and I'm at a local Walmart, because first thing I do is get in an argument with the manager of Walmart and get suspended from Walmart for 15 days. I mean, as a shopper, I didn't work there now. But I look back at the picture and I'm still like a dead man. I mean, my face is all, you got facial wasting. It just means where your face kind of sucks in. Most of the time you'll see that is in cancer patients or late stage AIDS patients, and some other afflictions, I'm sure. But anyway, long story short, I was 125. This past Monday at the doctor, I was 195 pounds. That ties with the biggest I ever was in my life. And at that time, I was working out way too much, and that was during a supplement phase, and so. But I mean, as you can tell, I'm not like out of shape um, by any means. Which I know I could get in better shape. That's a fact. Because I do look at that stuff more seriously now, and that comes with age for sure. And especially, I've got a big kick in the face of reality that I might not be invincible. Um, and that's how it goes. But what I like to do at least once a week is go through this daily devotional, and this is the one that I'm sticking to because it's the one I like the most, and it's called Celebrate Recovery. It's a 365-day daily devotional, and it's the 30th anniversary. If you ever get interested in it or want it, and by the way, again to Corey's thing there, it's CoreyThomasMinistries.com. But if you really want to buy a book and you can't remember where I said to get it or something like that, just write me and I'll make sure you get one. All right. So the way I do this always is I just open to a page. I don't have anything marked. I just open to a page, and 9.99999% of the 9.99999 out of 10 times it's exactly something that's going on with me that day, or maybe something that's going on with somebody else as well. I don't know, but I just read them and it always helps. All right, so this is day 207. It's called New Name. This is 1 John 3:2 is what it's based on. We are the children of God, and what we will be has not yet been made known. But we know that when he appears, we shall be like him, for we shall see him as he is. All right, here's the devotional part. I'm not wearing my glasses as usual. This morning, I was reading about Jacob, Abraham's grandson, and how he wrestled with God. Jacob was one messed up guy, a liar, deceiver, thief. He spent a good bit of his life carrying the weight of that identity. Imagine how amazing it was for Jacob when he finally quit wrestling with God and surrendered to his leadership. After that, the Bible tells us God reached down and whispered these words, Jacob, Jacob, Jacob. You're no longer going to be identified as Jacob. I have given you a new name. You will now be called Israel. Genesis 35:10. Like Jacob, my name used to be shameful, guilty, liar, thief, prideful, selfish, and more. I also wrestled with God, and I'm happy to say he won. God also reached down and whispered in my ear, John, I have given you a new name. You will now be called forgiven and beloved child of God. It's interesting. We all know that the best and most beautiful things in life cannot be seen or touched. Go for it. Cannot be seen or touched. They're felt by the heart. When we finally stop wrestling with God, when the struggle is over, we will be ready to hear him whisper to each of us, I love you. I've given you a new name and a new identity. Come closer and I will tell you what you will now be called. That's interesting because one of the people I really like is a fellow named Benji, who works at a recovery center out in Nicholasville, Kentucky. And he always says, he's like me. I don't like using the word addict or alcoholic or anything like that. And, Benji's the one who taught me that it's what we really are is we're children of God who made some mistakes along the way. And, I say this, and I always promise I'll say this every week, is when you label somebody with that addict or alcoholic, that's that scarlet letter, the scarlet letter A in red, like the book. So you're always branded. I mean, I know AA does it their way, and a lot of people get frustrated with me because I think AA is archaic. It's not my thing, but if it's working for somebody else, that's great. I can just tell you why I don't go, but the AA devoted will jump on people like me real quick and say something about a pink cloud and something about I don't know what I'm talking about and something about this and that. And honestly, I can't tell you my response on here, but I can tell you hypocritical much. Okay. Um, so the prayer for this one is, Father God, thank you for liberating me from the shameful identity I once carried. I cherish this new name you have given me. In Jesus' name, amen. My name used to be, because there's a Primus song about it, my name is Mud. Um, and rebuilding that's not the easiest thing in the world, but it's also something you can't be scared of. I know a lot of people come out realistic and go, look at me now, I've changed. Look at me, I've changed. And I wrote about this and talked about it recently. Is you can't just come out and say that and expect people to believe it. What you've done is it's like a cognitive therapy, but the wrong kind. You've done classical conditioning to teach somebody, okay, that's fine. He's sorry this time. He's going to change. They fixed me this time. Some rehab fixed me. Some rehab helped me, saved my life. And none of that's true, by the way. Um, you can't. None of us can help anybody. We can assist God, but um, you don't expect people to just sit there and say, okay, well, how many times have you told me you've changed? And one of the other things that comes out is, this was the last time. This is the last time. I'm really done. And I always knew better, but see, my trips are made to appease others, and I don't think I was ever serious about quitting drinking. I mean, I can tell you I couldn't see my life without it probably 2 years ago. And I mean, it's just how it is. And you have a lot of people who will just appease others, and or whether it be court mandated, or to make your girlfriend happy, your wife happy, your brother happy, your partner happy. Um, the neighbor that gets tired of talking to you every day and can't make sense of what you're saying. Um, it just doesn't work that way. I know for me that I haven't drank, and it's not because of what happened to me. It's because of what was given to me, and that's truly heart to God, the truth. That's why I don't drink. Um, and it's not that I can't, and a lot of people don't get that. I can drink. Um, as I was told, I could drink in moderation, but I'll tell you, I am just absolutely a failure and not good at drinking. I know this. I get it. It was killing me. And to me, I feel like God said, okay, here's your chance to do this and do it right. Where they said, and He restores, you know, my name. But He's also restored so much more, as my faith is real. I believe in me as well. I get straight A's in much higher level psychology classes now as I work towards my master's. And I wasn't doing that 25 years ago. I mean, I wasn't. And I still have that, in the back of me. Oh gosh, I'm going to fail this. This paper's not good. This paper's not good. I did it one time this semester where I literally redid a paper 3 times, and I would have got an A on the first one. And, you know, I got an A on the last one, but I mean, it's just that the doubting, I'm doubting myself less and less the more time I spend with God. So that's what it goes down to. And listen, that's it for me this week. I'm getting calls and texts left and right for some reason. I don't know. But I love you all, and I'll see you next week. And hopefully next week I will have a guest with me, which is something I plan on doing for the next month and a half, 2 months. Um, is get some other stories there for you that are straight from the person that comes straight from God. And I'm not the only true story of God's miracles, obviously. And so it's good to throw some more in the mix there. And I'll be putting some updates about that this week, and maybe make a commercial or something that I don't usually do. But all right, for now, that's it. Much love to everybody. I love you all. God bless.